Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, with the most Terran player out there. In the blue, the former world champion, Micro Jackson. It's ByuN. But he's up against a fellow former world champion. In the red, we have Oliveira. A best of 5 all-Terran showdown, where the quantity of ByuN's units will be going up against the quality of Oliveira's builds. And speaking of quantity and of quality, well, it's about time for me to beg you for likes, and maybe even subscribes. And Jimmy, what are we at? One more. 1,401 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. I'll probably do it anyway, so I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better than at least some of these Reapers coming in early. Oliveira comes across, snipes off the SCV. ByuN held the Reapers at home, but a 2-Rax Reaper start from Oliveira, a cheeky move, will delay his command center back at home. And of course, both players have access to the same units. The timings and the tactics will be different, but Oliveira has chosen to take the initiative. And right now, if he came up the ramp, he may win the game, because ByuN, for a moment, only had 1 Reaper. Well, winning the game might have been a bit much, but could have gotten some more kills, but didn't want to risk it. Throws down the grenade. Gonna try to delay the command center some more. Actually missed a shot on the SCV. ByuN roasts one of the Reapers. 2 more jumping up to the high ground. A single Reaper will follow. Oliveira looking to snipe, but the Hellions getting them all hot and bothered. And isn't able to take out much more. At the end of the day, 4 Reapers for 2 SCVs. Not an ideal trade. Not a total disaster. He was able to delay the command center, but Oliveira's command center is still significantly slower. Overall, the tech, Cloak Banshee is already on the way, whereas Oliveira opting for a medevac with Cyclone. So despite both players going for all parts of the tech early, we couldn't have much more of a split. Hellions and Reapers and a Banshee up against Cyclone, Medevac, Marine. So ByuN darting in, the counter fire, but the Cyclones lock on and knock out a Hellion and another Reaper. So, getting a bit ahead of himself, scouting forward. The Medevac, he knows there's nothing in that, right? Oliveira with the Scout Vac. Interesting choice. I don't know if it's just here to keep him at bay. Now, this is a pretty intense mind game. Sending out the medevac with nothing in it, just a fake drop to try to keep some of those units at home. So when the Banshee comes across the map, he's going to be very surprised that there are Cyclones back at home. Wow. Okay. Well, you can already tell the sort of series we're going to be having. So that is like a very low stakes but high effectiveness mind game. What he's losing out on is the time. Yeah, well, the Banshee comes in. Cyclone's back at home. And scans, locks on. Extra damage to the Banshee, but does he get out of the scan in time? No, knocked out of the sky. And that Cyclone being at home makes all the difference. ByuN, maybe a bit bamboozled, though. He could have easily made another Cyclone, still had 2 inside. So, in only seeing 1 Cyclone with the Banshee, this drop is still a threat, right up until the Marines are able to gut it down as he kind of casually strolls by. The Banshee, the pre-scan, the cloak won't save you, and another one bites the dust. Oliveira takes down 2 Banshees for nearly free. I mean, cost him 2 scans. And we're right back to it. Now ByuN is on the back foot. His tech has been shut down. He hasn't gotten any economic damage. He is a few workers up on Oliveira, and he's slipping by some Hellions, but Oliveira has an army that is not easily contended with. Oh no. Here come the Hellions, roasting some of the SCVs, some of which were already softened up. Oliveira trying to go forward, but Siege Tank gets a good hit on the Cyclones. The SCVs are fighting against the Hellions. Not an ideal choice. Scan spots the Siege Tank, and Oliveira's push is going to be shut down before it even starts. He's lost 13 SCVs back at home. It is a financial disaster. It is an economic cataclysm for Oliveira. And unfortunately, unlike in other matchups, his opponent has mules as well. So the mules won't save you, since both sides have a similar amount. The only thing Oliveira has going for him is that third command center, so we actually will have more mules and slightly more SCV production. At least for a short time, until ByuN's able to finish his third momentarily. 1-1 is on the way for both sides, but make no mistake, Oliveira in a very tough spot now, and I think he's making up for it with some aggressive defense. He's going to sit on ByuN's doorstep, on his front porch, in his driveway even, yelling mean things and potentially raiding his villages and also sending in the Vikings. That was supposed to be a Vikings joke, but it went the wrong way with things, and so did that siege tank. ByuN trying to pick off one more. Vikings and siege tanks taking some damage, but still intact for now. Oliveira doesn't want to get too close. This is not supposed to be a killing army. It's just one that buys enough time to get his infrastructure back at home. He needs to zone ByuN out without risking a huge amount of counter damage. If this army gets crushed, ByuN walks across the map and just kills him. But it's very difficult to crush multiple siege tanks. At the very least, you're going to take losses. Unless you just fly right by. The double drop is on the way out. Oliveira pulling back to defend his third. Not sure if he's spotted the double medevac or if he's just anticipating it. But it's ByuN. He's going to drop the base. 1-1 about to complete, but moments before, the siege tank slams a shot home. And without the combat shield, it only takes one stim and he's within siege tank danger zone. Trading out some of the Marines. Here come the Vikings to make life difficult for those medevacs. One gets taken down, but Oliveira's able to clean up most of the Marines, gets one of the medevacs, and has almost drawn equal in the worker count. So I think Oliveira's done a great job of keeping ByuN at bay for long enough to at least act like this game is even. ByuN still has 6 tanks to 5. He has medevacs out. He has more Marines. Are the barracks up? Both sides have their barracks up. The Oliveira is just now adding his reactors. ByuN already has his production online. And ByuN is not hesitating. He's gonna drop the tanks in. Tries to get them there a little bit quicker. Unfortunately, the siege tanks of Oliveira are already online. He's gonna blast through. Liberators overhead, though, will one-shot the Marines trying to escape. Will manage to evacuate 3 of the tanks. But ByuN dove in and will be forced to scramble out as Oliveira, a strong defense. How did that battle go? 2 tanks to 2. ByuN killing Marines. Honestly, about even in that engagement. If ByuN was a couple seconds earlier, that could have been a decisive position. A couple seconds later, it could have ended in disaster. But we measure in milliseconds here, both in ping and who comes out on top of these battles. ByuN missing the siege. Is that a counter scan? They're both scanning the same spot, knowing how dangerous it is for either side. With now, well, siege tanks across the board. Obviously, as much of the board as possible. The Liberators helping hold some ground. And air superiority is the name of the game. Well, the name of the game is StarCraft 2, but a very important mini-game is the Lost Viking. Possibly the hardest achievement in the StarCraft 2 campaign. I'm an expert on those. And also here, maintaining enough Vikings to keep air superiority while also not giving... You need to have some medevacs. You gotta support those Marine stim habits. But at the same time, well, Oliveira clearly has air superiority here. He has the Liberators, the Vikings in place. The Liberators come around the corner, gonna try to snipe off the backline tanks. Kind of a clever move, but giving ByuN more time to work from this angle. 2-2 is now done for both sides. Actually, Oliveira was a little quicker on his upgrades. Neither side starting +3. +1 mech weapons is about to complete for Oliveira, which means we'll be dead even on the upgrades. The Liberators have successfully pushed away the tanks. Oliveira starts his +3 armor. Now we play map chick. A siege tank taking the watchtower, of course. Oliveira starts those 3-3 upgrades quicker. Only 66 SCVs, now adding some more on. I think he was maximizing his production on 3 base. And now catching up, but ByuN already has 4 bases. Going on 5. That classic quality over quantity sort of style that ByuN favors. And Oliveira, on the other hand, a much more tactical, positioning-based army, which is all well and good. But everyone has a plan until the Marines stim in and start punching you in the mouth. Turrets across the board. The TPM continues to raise. Oliveira even scanning outside his fort, maybe suspecting a secondary army, as clearly ByuN has more than just this. He's in sensor tower range. Oliveira can scan when he sees the army moving in. Well, unless the sensor tower is dead, in which case it makes it more difficult. Trying to keep tabs on things. The Liberators working over the edge of the map in order to fire in. Try to keep them protected. The army, 7... Wow, ByuN's such a purist. 75 SCVs, 7 medevacs, 10 tanks, and 71 Marines. Oliveira with a smattering of Vikings and Liberators, complementing 12 tanks, but only 37 Marines. So half the Marines and a whole bunch else for Oliveira, whereas ByuN, well, he knows what he wants. Scan spots ByuN taking a 5th command center. I don't know if Oliveira is in a position to, well, he's maxed out, but he has the turtle army. And, well, you can tell as the siege tank spread. Beautiful. Can't believe it's not butter. And adding on turrets and sensor towers, but it's time. Ah, yes. We've reached the endgame. Both players acknowledging it. ByuN with 4 command centers at a time. 2 Ravens, interference matrix, finishing off the 3-3. Meanwhile, Oliveira starts his fusion core. And that may very well be for Battlecruisers. Well, he has air superiority. He's working on Ravens. So, the ultimate unit, even in Terran versus Terran, where the Battlecruiser or Liberators with advanced ballistics both serve the purpose of potentially dislodging an entrenched position on the ground. It makes more sense for Oliveira here. 2 more starports for ByuN. More Liberators. There's advanced ballistics, disappointingly, for the Chinese Terran, but 3-3 completing for both sides, plus 2 mech weapons, a very key upgrade for those siege tanks. Oliveira tries to counterattack and almost immediately regrets that decision. Oh, wow. Well, I guess he freed up a whole lot of supply. And the medevac will not make it home. Okay, so he got 2 tanks, 2 Vikings, for 30 Marines and 2 medevacs. Was it worth it? How many barracks? ByuN, only 8 racks, but almost all of them with reactors, if not all. Knowing ByuN, he switched off. Wait, I want to see. Yes. He switched every single one of his racks to reactors. He has so many command centers. High-sec auto-tracking, building on with the Bronze League Heroes upgrades on the way. As it's almost like we flipped a switch. And that switch was deathmatch resources. As both players now have double-digit command centers. Well, Oliveira's working on it. ByuN is building 6 commands. He already has 10 command centers. He's building 6 more. More CCs than a terrible corporate email right now. And now high-sec auto... He's running out of space on the map. Ideally, you end up... Yeah, the scans... I mean, we could just stare at this for a while. Sensor towers dotting the field. Pretty much covering all of each of their halves. I wouldn't be surprised to see some more forward ones soon. And after a bit of a lull in the action... Well, ByuN... The battle lines are drawn. The Viking count. The siege tanks. I mean, wow, Oliveira has almost... He's maxed out and he has 4 Marines. I guess he's building like a dozen more. And... Yamato cannon is on the way. The Battlecruiser gun upgrade. I like how in Brood War it's called Yamato gun. You get the point. It's a massive energy blaster. Though no Battlecruisers with which to use it. In fact, awkwardly, ByuN doesn't even have a fusion core. Which doesn't seem like such a huge deal, but having advanced ballistics is kind of a huge one. Certainly. Ravens, interference matrix, a big part of this. Anti-armor missile as well. You managed to unsiege the tank before the interference matrix. But they both have enough Ravens to potentially dismantle enough of the tanks to lock them down with interference matrix to actually go forward with the rest of the army. Oliveira sends pretty much every Marine he owns to the top right corner and happens by a command center. So many Vikings now. ByuN has 7 starports. He has 10 orbital commands. Ideally, you get down to like 60 or so SCVs, maybe even less. That siege tank, the turrets are all over the place. The TPM has skyrocketed, which is somewhat ironic considering that they are skyrockets, but +3 mech weapons and plating for Oliveira on the way. Ship weapons and plating for ByuN. 3 more command centers. Why not? Just throw another one down there. The Yamato kit is complete. Still missing those Battlecruisers. Scrambles 3 tanks, make it 6. The Marines cook. There's still tanks backing them up. But ByuN, willing to trade the Marines. It's a bloodbath. But it's a worthy one. As he grinds his way forward, the sensor towers now almost have 100% coverage, but of course, it's actually kind of odd because we can't tell the difference between whose sensor towers are whose on the minimap. Not that it matters too much. They have enough scans to constantly keep tabs on the army. ByuN is up to 13 turrets. Seems like more because they're scattered all over the place, but oh my. The minimap is becoming more and more... Did you know there's a limit on how many sensor towers can show up on the minimap? Yes. I've tested this before. It's like 30 of them. After 30 or so sensor towers, they just, like the initial ones, the first ones built. Oh my. Well, this is awkward. Corporate sabotage. After 30 sensor towers, the first ones built just don't show up on the map anymore. I think this is to prevent you literally masking things on the minimap with mass sensor tower. Because you could have so many lines it actually covers up some of the... Oh my god! The Viking Raven Centrifuge. You can't quite patrol them right on top of each other like the days of old, and he sensed an incoming scan. Oh my god. The turrets across the board, the scans whipped out there like a Costco checkout line. ByuN with 3 more commands. How many command centers is too many? Well, when we get there, I'll let you know, but anti-armor missile onto the Ravens. Scrambles a tank. More turrets. Who has the turret lead? Oliveira has 31. The TPM is just ridiculous right now. These are professional Bronze League heroes. Scrambles through. Takes down the turret. And there's actually a pretty severe lack of siege tanks in the area. Maybe 1 or 2. How many tanks in total? 14 to 11. Anti-armor missile coats Oliveira's Vikings. Dorito does it, increasing the damage they take. More important against the Marines than it is against the other Vikings, but it still helps. The less damage a unit does per hit, the more important anti-armor missile is for it. But of course, if you have an opportunity, you should take it. Meanwhile, ByuN has so many command centers he can't get his tanks out of his base. Which is taking away from the fact he's also building a fusion core. Will somebody build a battlecruiser already? Oliveira is getting pushed back through his menagerie of command centers as ByuN is just ripping through with the Marines. The tanks are spread off the entire field. He just goes straight down the center. And there's nothing here really to defend. He has, I guess he can slap down turrets. Not like that. ByuN is, I think that's ByuN queuing up turrets. I have to imagine. I don't have to imagine. I can just wait a little while. What is this? He's building barracks up here. Why not? I don't know if that was a misclick, but he's actually kind of making some progress towards the production. If he gets on the production, well, that's, of course he can fly away. But this, well, ByuN has plenty of money in the bank. He's working on those ship weapons upgrades. He's adding more and more Ravens. Just, oh my god! He lifted the command centers! He just unlocked like 10 tanks. ByuN finally realized that the traffic jam was holding up all of his reinforcements. But, like that one guy on the highway who finally is able to get to the exit ramp. Well, the siege tanks have been freed up. Do you need more is 7 starports not enough for you, ByuN? He's like, no, and neither is 9. We're going to 11 starports. He's got 14 orbital commands. I don't even think there's barely 14 bases on the map. You still have 70 SCVs. All the better to build turrets with. Anyways, Raven's whipping out interference matrices like free candy at the state fair. Actually, no, it costs everything at the state fair. Like expensive candy at the state fair. Moving on. Slaps down baby turrets, the edgy cousin of the missile turret. And Oliveira still driven back beyond banking money. He can start mining out the entire map by dropping entire stables of mules. The SCV, dude, would you stand still? We don't stand at all, we fly. Stop being annoying and just stop. Or he could drop mules for repair as well. I don't know why he's relying on SCVs for that. When you have 14 orbital commands, it's time to stop being stingy. Just rapid firing scans, anti-armor missile over the Vikings, still exchanging volleys. A Scandinavia Vikings on the map right now. And every other joke I've ever made about Vikings needs to be made. Okay. Jimmy, get out my joke book. What do you mean it doesn't exist? That's a mirror. More Vikings. ByuN now has 11 starports. Oliveira scrambling around. He managed to take the gold base in the bottom left, but it doesn't have more resources, it just mines faster. There's Vendia scans, Tria scans, Viking Flower, Ravens. The Viking Flower makes it harder to target individual units. Did he just scramble those tanks right as they started sieging up, which effectively stuns them mid-siege? I believe he did. Another Dorito dusting. Everyone's getting the Cheetos all over him. Honestly, it's more of a Cheeto dust situation. It used to be more orange, but now it's like a light orange. It's a yellowish orange, a orange, if you would. I wouldn't, because that was dumb. But you might, based on all the context of that entire sentence. Oliveira gonna try a counterattack. Planetary out in front. Surprised it's only one. Okay. Well, the Vikings overhead. Where are the siege tanks? How many? ByuN down. He has 34 Vikings and 7 siege tanks. 16 Ravens apiece. Anti-armor missile. The Marine tank's still important to hold ground. But the Raven count is so damn high. Oliveira has more gas in the bank. ByuN they have about the same amount in the bank, but Oliveira has more gas and ByuN has more minerals. In fact, neither side has really lost that much gas. Only 5K out of the 20K, 25K they've mined. I'd be like, where's all the gas? Well, it's currently in starports, in add-ons, and in the currently standing slash flying slash driving army. That's where all the gas is at the moment. It's mostly the Marines who've been caught in the crossfire. The missile turrets, the scouting barracks lord, playing it off like that was totally intentional. Another... the Raven's not able to get the scrambles. ByuN moving into position, and this is a clusterfuck of a battle right in the middle of everything. The Vikings getting massive valleys. Some real overkill, though. The Marines stimming up, and the turrets... the turrets will hold the line. ByuN, what is this? There's some Marines back here. Battlecruisers in production. ByuN, bringing back the big Battlecruisers as an endgame unit. You know, it makes sense. Oliveira has played this technical game. It feels like Oliveira's losing, but I'm not entirely convinced that's the case. Yes, usually the person who has 10 less command centers is losing, but this is a very special situation for very special Terrans. And right now, Oliveira has way more gas in the bank, and he has an equal amount of bases because he took that bottom left, and now he's taking out the top right. So we're still a long way from draining the entire bank. Well, or one big fight. But Oliveira has a better late game position here. Especially since ByuN is so relatively wasteful and aggressive with his units. He's got the Battlecruisers on the way. Just now getting Yamato cannon. More SCVs out in front. Both players down to 50. Not gonna hurt their economies too much. Anti-armor missile all over everything. Auto turret slapped down. Turret on turret action. And Marines stutter stepping in. And Oliveira kind of clears the field. But a Battlecruiser has arrived. That can be scrambled by the interference matrices as well. 20 Vikings to 20, 11 to 6 Ravens, and there's still that Battlecruiser. Anti-armor missile, but it's one-sided this time. He tries to jump away, but the Viking missiles just do terrible, terrible damage. The Battlecruiser taken down and outflanked by turrets. ByuN trying to make the Battlecruisers work. Yes. Just what the Battlecruiser was designed for. Worker harass. David Kim salivates. Now that's the battle ace I've been waiting on. Jumps away. Wait. Oh, yeah. To the bottom left corner. Meanwhile, the exchanges continue. Siege tank at the watchtower. Ravens, Vikings hit the deck. Ravens still overhead. Why did the Vikings actually drop down? I'm not sure. Now he's back up in the air. Anti-armor missile across the board. Fighting into missile turrets. Oliveira will be losing all of his Ravens. He's got a dozen turrets, auto turrets on the ground. The Viking count. Oliveira now on the ground with his Vikings because he can't win the fight in the skies. This is the only way to avoid getting shot down. But this creates a precarious position. He's now building Thors. Thors versus Battlecruisers, a box art army, and ByuN took out all the SCVs in the bottom left corner. Oliveira's actually down 60 supply. It cost him so many Ravens. He just committed with all of his army, and he didn't win the air war, and he didn't take a decisive victory on the ground. Now ByuN is gonna solo this base with the 23 kill Battlecruiser. He's got more in production. His 11 starports have fully kicked in. There's still one of ByuN's turrets at this base, making things very awkward. The siege tanks will, well, do what they do best once again. How many tanks? 7 to 11. There's a joke in there somewhere, but there's no time. Nor Oliveira for that. The Battlecruiser count at only 1. Wait, oh yeah, he took out 1. He's only building 2 at a time. I think because the rest of his starports have reactors. Missile turret in range, but the planetary taking massive hits. Upgrades are maxed out across the board. Planetary is annihilated. ByuN, not that much. Oh, huge flank from the Ravens. Scrambles most of the tanks. Auto turrets slapped down. Interference matrices are good. He's using the splash damage, but he scrambles the Vikings on deck. Everybody hits the ground. Thors getting overrun. The Vikings are stutter stepping forward. The Thors are nothing in the face of these Vikings. Who's your god now? And just like that, ByuN is up 100 supply. Oliveira does not have... He's scanning to drop mules from one of his... He's down to 13 orbital commands. What a game. ByuN has won it. It would take a titanic mistake with these battleships. The Battlecruisers, not the defining characteristic, but certainly the catalyst that forced Oliveira into such mediocre fights. And now, I think he doesn't quite... Oh yeah, there's this outpost over here. Oliveira spots ByuN mining with mules in the top right. He still has enough resources. 5 more Battlecruisers on the way. ByuN scanning the main. And that's a statement. I feel like scanning the main is, when you have Battlecruisers, is essentially telegraphing your move. Oh my god, both players mining with the mules here. Wait, that's Oliveira's base. I wasn't sure. I saw an orbital command landing, and I just assumed it was ByuN. Oliveira's broke. Oh my god! I don't know. I think that... ByuN just... I think just scanned the entire map that wasn't currently in his vision. And why not? Map hacks with extra APM. ByuN throwing away a third of his economy. Well, if you don't count mules. We're almost done mining out this base. I like the... It's a matter of principle to send your workers to their death instead of just killing them yourself. He could kill them himself. But this sends a statement. Oliveira has like half a dozen mineral patches left. Yeah, 3 years later. ByuN may actually kill some of these turrets. Another scan volley. The army supplies are close enough to even. 162 to 146. There's a dream. There's a lot of... 11 Ravens to just 2. 18 Vikings to 31 is quite a disparity. 4 Thors against 8 Battlecruisers. Oliveira has the Ravens. That's his only hope here. He's lost so many throughout this game. 34 of them. But... one incredible fight. ByuN is completely out of gas. Oliveira's out of minerals. I assumed ByuN had won, but it's not over yet. Scrambles a tank. Anti-armor missile. Here come the Thors getting big hits. No scramble from ByuN. His Ravens not able to get any interference matrices. Scrambles... cancels the Yamato volley. Vikings getting a lot of damage done. Thors pounding through on the back line. Yamato cannons go up, but not enough of them. Auto turrets underneath. The Vikings are winning in the sky for ByuN, but the Thors knocked out the Battlecruisers, and now the Vikings hit the deck yet again. More Marines coming up. 1 siege tank on the high ground. 3 Thors versus the Vikings, who will tear down their gods. And ByuN wins. What a fight. One more time. One more time. All right. Here comes the initial. We're going to slow it down. Anti-armor missile. The Vikings exchanging fire. The Thors helping out a lot here. Oliveira, one of the Thors is stuck. Yamato cannons coming up, but Oliveira manages to scramble most of the Battlecruisers. The Vikings getting caught on the Ravens here, which means the auto turrets are able to be slammed down, but there's still 2-3 siege tanks on the high ground, making life difficult. Taking out those auto turrets, or at least some of them. And the Viking count is too damn high, and the Vikings have bonus damage against mechanical units on the ground. I don't know, like, don't ask why, but that makes them very good against Thors. Easily able to kill them so quickly, and Oliveira understands that. What a game. That was... that was a lot. All right. ByuN up 1-0. Going into game 2. Battlecruisers, definitely a helpful part. Were they better than going for more Ravens at the end? The Battlecruisers tank a lot of damage. They are very large creatures. So the amount of Viking shots they ate, I think, helped win the Viking battle more decisively. And of course, ByuN going for the rule of cool, where even if the Battlecruisers might not be 100% the perfect technical choice, it's about quantity and quality. And once again, I'm begging for your likes and subscribes, as I'll be honest, I'm like, TVT, this came recommended, this series, and it takes some heavy recommendations to be casting a mirror match, because it's a big risk. Most people will turn off a mirror match the moment they see it, especially Protoss versus Protoss and Zerg versus Zerg, but it has to go above and beyond, and I think both these players went above and beyond for this match. And so obviously you didn't turn it off. You made it here to game 2. So thank you for watching. I don't know if we're going to be able to top that, but TVT, the beauty of it and the horror is that any one of those early game attacks could have ended the game. And then at like the 12-minute mark, they're like, well, I guess we can't end the game anymore. Oh, the SCV bodyguard out in front. Oliveira scouted. And as soon as they realized they couldn't end the game on the Marine tank and the early pressure, boom, late game time. Bunch more command centers, more starports, all the upgrades, no hesitation. Oh my, the duel. The point being that Terran versus Terran is a chess boxing match. So you have at it as long as you can, and then when you go back to your corner, you tech up as far as possible, try to grab the map, and get ready for the next round. Because the next round, everyone's going to be hitting way harder. It's kind of crazy. Oliveira almost brought it back with those Ravens as well. The Ravens are the crowbar of Terran. Whatever you need done, you need to pry your way into a base, certain location, well, Raven probably has what you need for it. ByuN trying to slip by with the Reapers. Waiting, I think, to see Oliveira commit, or at least trying to game out the timing. Oliveira, with most of his units on the other side of the map, this is not ideal. He has to decide whether he sends in his units or he defends the natural. And the Reapers get into the main, bounce up, kill another one. He's just going to go for the SCVs, both sides. Going straight for those poor, poor blue mineral workers. And the Hellions get it. Oh, wait a second. He actually locked on with both Cyclones. He's going to boost and try to chase the Hellions. Meanwhile, Oliveira, he got cleaned up. What's the total? What's the damage? Oliveira ends up killing 7 SCVs and 1 Reaper. ByuN, 3 Reaper. Wait, no. Yes. Wait. Oh, no, that was right. Okay, 7 SCVs and 1 Reaper lost for ByuN. Whereas Oliveira... let's just take stock of where we are now. Which is Oliveira having his expansion up and running. Few more workers. But ByuN is coming in. He's got a medevac with 2 Cyclones in it. And that is an existential threat. Because ByuN will dodge every one of your projectile shots with that medevac. You need Marines. I would not rely on a Cyclone and a few Marines to deal with a medevac and 2 Cyclones from ByuN. He's done disgusting things with those Cyclones, and still continues to, even though they were somewhat nerfed from their peak last year. Oh my. Dodging the locks, both sides. A Liberator exchanging places with the medevac. as he rotates around for the natural. Oliveira with the third command center, ByuN with more production, which really defines these two players. Really? Okay. There's space? Okay. Where's that Liberator? Oh, it's hiding in the corner? Yes. Barely visible on the minimap. My god, he's right on the edge of siege range. Liberator sneaking into the main. And there's nothing here to defend, though he's going to have a moment of warning. I'm not sure if the refinery spotted it. And either way, ByuN is keeping him very busy with the Cyclones. So that Liberator will be able to siege up. And Oliveira not looking. Loses 3 SCVs in total. But a counterattack. The medevac drops in. It's just Marines. They don't have stim. It's a long way off. Target's down. Gets out. But ByuN's still going to work. Those Cyclones racking up the damage. Auto turret at the back. Finishes off the Liberator. Cyclones picked up and get out. Oliveira. Taking hits, but he does have that... we're going to end up in a very similar spot to the previous game, which is Oliveira losing some of his map control, but having 3 command centers much quicker. Wait, ByuN already has engineering base, and he just started one more. Overall, ByuN is in quite a comfortable position. So I take it back on same as last game. I think ByuN just has the slight edge across the board. He has his 3rd command center done. He now has more workers. He has an upgrade advantage. Obviously, both sides have the same time to build +1 infantry weapons and armor because they're both Terran. Not sure I needed to explain that. Would you go away? Oh my, he's gonna try to... Nope. Then just no. Not gonna bother. 2 more SCVs. Dead, but ByuN has a double drop loaded up. Not sure if there's a siege tank or a cyclone in there, but either way, definitely dangerous. Meanwhile, Ravens darting in. And doesn't quite get the tank. Stim is done. Double cyclone, 1 siege tank, but he's right on the edge of the range, and now, well, within it. That siege tank target down a cyclone, and ByuN. Oh my god, the siege tank range. He's skirting right on the edge, but that one range is all the difference. As both sides doing terrible, terrible damage with the tanks. Finally cleans it up. He retargeted the tank to hit the biggest clump of Marines. Oh my, the Cyclone's in... really? No. No. Why are you like this? ByuN, unwilling to consider giving up the chase. Almost tries to dive on 3 siege tanks just to snipe that Raven, but thinks better of it at the last moment. Oliveira struggling against ByuN's relentless aggression. Combat shield finishing for both sides. 1-1 finishing for both sides again. Armory is halfway done for ByuN. Nothing for Oliveira yet. So he's going to be pretty far behind on the 2-2 timing, assuming we get there. Turret burns. Will be replaced. ByuN already working on that 4th. Sensor towers for either side, usually covering the 3rd base, is the objective. Ugh, 2-2 started. Oliveira again, just kind of behind on pretty much every metric right now. Not so far that he needs to make some desperate plays, but he can't afford any more mistakes. He can't afford to be caught out of position even once. Not when he's facing down... Well, speaking of caught out of position. He has 3 Cyclones of the Marines. Actually quite good against him. Almost gets the 2nd. A scan spots the army moving out. ByuN does have control of the watchtower. Siege tanks lining things up. No. The Cyclones obliterated by the siege tanks, and that will be the end of the Clone Wars and the beginning of the Marine tank phase. Now both players have scaled up ByuN, trying to get in position to leverage those upgrades and maybe any army supply, but he sees multiple siege tanks and says, yeah, sure, I'll go for it. And he gets a bit of a bloody nose by Oliveira with interference matrices here. Oliveira's still struggling to take out the tanks himself, but he's grinding away. Oh, 1 HP! Somebody throw a paper airplane at it or something. He drops. Did he just drop a Viking out of a meta? Sure, why not? Whatever works. ByuN ends up losing many of his tanks and is now down 10 to 5 siege tanks. So if there's anything that Oliveira can really lean on, it's again going to be a better siege tank position. And that sort of number is a big difference. He lost his Ravens in the fight, unfortunately, but they served their purpose, the interference matrices. ByuN is skirting the edge of the sensor. Is the most obvious. It's almost a bait, that sensor tower positioning. Oh my, but he's just gonna go anyways. Oh my, wow. It's a bit of a disaster. ByuN can't help himself when it comes to dropping the base. A masterful bait out of Oliveira. ByuN couldn't help himself. I don't think he was looking the moment he boosted in. Not expecting quite such a sturdy defense. And now Oliveira takes the supply lead. He's about to equal out the upgrades. With the Liberators, he's managing to dislodge ByuN from the watchtower. Though it's going to be a painful process. ByuN trying to buy space and time here. But the laws of physics don't bend that much for him. Liberators moving up. Oliveira has retaken control. Well, or maybe taken it for the first time. As the Vikings and Liberators, he's dead even on upgrades. ByuN, he doesn't have air control. He has no way to deal with these Liberators besides throwing Marines at them. Not a reliable process, but he eventually deals with it. He may just go. Siege is up, moving the Vikings forward. Great split out of Oliveira. Knocks out the medevacs, cuts down the siege tanks, and now a 30 supply lead. Oh, what a game again. 16 Marines at a time in production for ByuN. Massive siege tank hits queued up to maximize the bloodbath. But Oliveira is grinding forward. He's working that siege tank advantage. It's 11 to 2. ByuN is on the ropes right now, and Oliveira can keep him pinned there with this many tanks. A massive drop is loaded up. Unclear whether he's going to drop all the way out. Loses another tank. Oliveira on top of the third base. It will fly away, but the Vikings will knock it down. That triple drop. ByuN loads up, and he's going to try to drop the reinforcements again. Looking for a flank via the watchtower. Possibly his best chance to minimize the reinforcements coming across the map. And eventually ByuN should be able to build up enough to crush the army. But the question will be, what kind of losses will he take before it? The supplies are still remarkably even. ByuN will have +3 attack before Oliveira. His +3 armor is also ahead, but not as much. Oh no, the tanks run siege with the Marines! They stem right in! The Ravens are taken down! He takes out 2 tanks, but so many Marines annihilated by the rest of them. ByuN trying to whittle it down. Oliveira scans the base in the top left. ByuN is running out of real estate. He's dropping... Oliveira drops tanks right on top of the tanks. Tank on tank action. but he ends up losing his entire siege line. It's still 6 siege tanks, all back at home to 1. There's more orbital commands. Already done. The Vikings! Oh my, well, that's a disaster. Oliveira loses a lot of the Vikings, but ByuN is only making up ground that he lost. He still is in a very tough position when it comes to the unit composition. 86 Marines, but only 3 tanks and 7 medevacs. Oliveira still has Ravens and Vikings, and that gives him a much better unit composition going into this maxed out fight. ByuN needs to win fights, whereas Oliveira only needs to hold. Because his army is better, it's more valuable, and it gets better with time. Whereas ByuN, if he doesn't make something happen quickly with the Marines, it's only going to get worse, and oh my, wow. High velocity shredding of that orbital command. 15 SCVs with it. A base will be traded in the top right corner. The battle lines are drawn as the Marines gun each other down. ByuN actually wins the fight. He takes out the base of Oliveira in the top right as well. But overall, the income clearly in favor of our Chinese Terran. He now has 20 more workers, another mining base or 2. He has more orbitals in the bank. Is that true? Yes, 5 to 2. 2, that's it? Oh no. It's a financial disaster for ByuN. And this time around, it's not an exchange in the sky. Oliveira will dominate it. There are no Vikings. There are no Ravens. ByuN has a massive army full of Marines. And here they come from both sides. He's got everything here. Just running down the tanks. So many Marines. The anti-armor missile, though. He's losing momentum. The auto turret's helping out. The Vikings cutting into the medevac count. And ByuN stemmed forward. He cut down the front line and the mid line. But Oliveira holds the line at the end of the day. 160 to 120 army supply. No, supply in general. But either way, Oliveira clearly still has the army to beat. And that was ByuN's best bet at breaking it. But unfortunately, he didn't remove any key component. He cut down the tank count, he killed a few of the Vikings and Ravens, but there are still plenty of tanks. There are still Ravens and Vikings. There is no window he created to follow that up. And any sort of other window is rapidly closing as Oliveira, working on high-sec auto-tracking building armor, feeling comfortable enough to slap down turrets around the map. He's crossing his T's, dotting his I's, getting his building upgrades and landing his orbitals. And ByuN will have one last max out of Marines. The Liberators have a few Marines. They grind through some turrets. Oh no, he's caught in the liberation zones! No! The Marines push the siege tanks up against it. One of the most difficult positions to deal with on the map. Usually Terran dominates this location, and that is still true. As ByuN learns the hardest possible way. Gonna try to go around through the rocks, but the Liberator's still moving forward. Siege tank providing vision for itself at the watchtower. Actually, he's not quite close enough. He didn't take the tower. ByuN looking for an opportunity. Oliveira starting to bank money, building more starports. And it could end like it started. The mass Marine drops, looking for an opportunity. He scans the medevacs. He's cutting through the siege tanks, dropping on top of this. Thankfully, not a planetary. Oh, it's a disaster. Oh, no, they're all dead. The entire army and all the medevacs wiped off the field, trying to come through the watchtower, but the siege tank's still shelling. The Ravens dismantling the defense. Anti-armor missile scrambles another tank and punching his way through. Oliveira will strike back with a tactical vengeance. What a series. We're all tied up. We're just getting started. ByuN reverting to his mass marine tank style. He can't help it. And when the going gets tough, the medevacs get boosting. But unfortunately, Oliveira read him like a particularly popular book. He knows what ByuN wants to do. He wants to pick up and drop the main. But he just went one too many times. Well, here we go. Best of 3 now. Tied up 1-1. We're going into Oceanborn. ByuN. Proxy second Rex. So this is a hidden Rex designed to surprise you with the amount of Reapers while still... So Oliveira did scout last game. ByuN did not. Oliveira knows how sneaky ByuN can be. ByuN knows how sneaky ByuN can be. He's not going to scout the Rex. The question is, can he read that this is a hidden Rex out on the map? Because this looks very much like a 2-gas factory timing. It's so hard to tell. Now, the downside is, if you don't get damage done with the initial Reapers... Okay. Oliveira sees 2 gas. He sees no factory yet, but that's not a tell, necessarily. He's now building a factory of his own. He's building the command center on the high ground, which is just good practice. Yeah, I'm not sure if Oliveira is suspicious of this. It seems like no. I don't think you need a bunker to defend, but it's ByuN with Reapers. He's sitting on the high ground, and he's doing that because... oh, okay, he knows. And now he sees the Reapers. He pre-pulled SCVs. Oh, yeah, he's going to lose some of those pre-pulled SCVs. And ByuN really working it here. Almost kills the Marine. Those Marines do not heal over time. Factory nearly done. Cyclone on the way. That's the timer. That's Cyclone. If he can survive without taking critical losses, the Cyclone can save the day. ByuN is expanding behind. Cyclone, 10 seconds out. The Reapers kiting. Another Marine pops out. Oh, he's killing so much, but the Cyclone may pop out at the perfect time. He gets it. Locks on to 1. The Reaper's actually doing a lot of damage, but the Cyclone gets a triple kill. And Oliveira loses 4 SCVs, but he knocks out every Reaper. Was it worth it? I think Oliveira got the better end of that exchange. Not by much. But removing all those Reapers, and he has the second command center so much more quickly. He already dropped the Buell in his main before floating over. Smart move. And Oliveira already has a starport done, building a Banshee. So, will he go for Cloak? Doesn't look like it based on how little gas he has right now. Just building more clones. It's another one of those, like, early aggression into tech chicken. where neither player knows exactly what the other has committed to, so you have to take some very educated guesses on what it's going to be. And, well, that's awkward. Now, is it a fake medevac? I don't think so. The Cyclones move into position. Oh, this could be... He just used the lock. I mean, he used the boost. Oh, no, no, no. Okay, the medevac gets away. The Marine's in position to zone out. Medevac barely lived. Meanwhile, the Banshee. So both sides will be able to deflect most of the damage. Technically, the Banshee can kite those Marines for almost indefinitely, but Cyclone's about to come back out. More Marines. Great micro. Here comes the Viking. Well, he's dead anyway, so might as well get one more SCV for your trouble. Now dead even in the workers. Interference matrix is now completed for Oliveira. And he's lining up a timing to attack outright. Third command center is on the way behind. Again, Oliveira will be quicker on getting that third command center. Focused on getting a better economy. We'll see if ByuN lets him get there. Who's also starting as third. Oh, here we go again. Just keep going down different lanes. With interference matrix, how many tanks? 2 tanks. All right, that second tank is so important. I don't know exactly where it is. It's on the ramp right now, and that could make all the difference. He needed that tank badly. All right, well, another Raven coming up, but the initial tank will be taken out by an auto turret, but honestly, 9 SCVs dead, but he ends up losing. We have to go into the battle report and figure out. He killed a Raven, 2 Cyclones, and a tank, and now it's ByuN's turn. He's gonna come back across the map. Here we go again. Siege tanks. Wait, does ByuN have any Ravens? No, just 1 Viking against a Raven and 2 Vikings. So, yeah, ByuN already backed off. It looks like, despite our best efforts, we're going into a macro game yet again. Neither side able to find critical damage. Oliveira, the slight worker lead. A little behind on the upgrades. But how about production? 5 barracks to 2. ByuN only now getting his 3rd Rex. ByuN, don't do it. ByuN picks up. And guess where he's going? Oliveira building multiple missile turrets. He just scanned the main. I don't think he saw the medevacs pick up. But the fact... So here's the fact of the matter. Do I need to follow that sentence up with fact of the matter? You can just say fact. You don't have to say the whole phrase. And that's a fact of them. No. The production is so late for ByuN, he's very limited on options. He needs to get some damage, otherwise Oliveira will just have if this goes on like it is right now, Oliveira will be up 20-30 supply in like 3 minutes. Because ByuN is several production cycles on all of those barracks behind. So right now, yeah, he's looking for something just... Are they going to find each other? They're slightly out of vision. They're literally pixels away. Meanwhile, ByuN, no, my God, it's a disaster. Not again. Oh, he got greedy, and there's no way to... It's happening again. ByuN! Oliveira, kind of almost wandering into the medevacs. ByuN was trying to set up a timing. But it just doesn't pan out. And he loses a huge chunk of his army. And Oliveira already moving across the map. He grinds out a 10 supply lead. And that will only be exacerbated. No combat shield yet for Oliveira. The big difference here. ByuN may try to fight. Using that advantage. And it is a significant one. 6 seconds on combat shield. Oliveira playing patiently. He's just... The siege tanks, he can scramble 1. He does so. Combat shield is done. The boys are pulled off the line. Oliveira quite deep here. The siege tanks not dying nearly quickly enough. Unsiege tanks from the north side coming in. Vikings hit the deck. Tanks come out of the interference matrix. But Oliveira, well, he's chasing that. The amount of units dying to drop the Vikings is impressive, exciting, and a little concerning throughout this series. Another scan. ByuN? Well, did Oliveira lose SCVs? Not really. He just didn't build that many. ByuN had 3 command centers down and building SCVs for quite a while. The splits there, retargeting the tanks to try to maximize the damage, but ByuN not offering up much of a target. But now the production's still kicking in. Like, Oliveira might have some decent income, but overall, oh no. Well, actually, considering the context of everything here, ByuN is very unlikely to have much in the main. Indeed, that's true. Not a single turret. Just now sieging up 1 tank. Unfortunately for Oliveira, his tank sieged up way late in the drop here. But 11 more SCVs dead. And trading with the Marines. Wait, is he winning? No, not quite, but close enough. Oliveira continues to compound his lead. ByuN is going to have +2/+2 for the 14 Marines he has left over. They both have 5 racks up now. So production is nearly equal. No 4th command center for ByuN. Oliveira going to be landing his 4th as ByuN starts his command center. ByuN picks up. And Oliveira may spot it with a scouting marine, which is a huge deal. And, well, a sensor tower was coming up at that exact moment. Liberators of the natural. Great reaction time on ByuN, but you can't save everyone. There's a sweet spot in behind. Ooh, well. Ow. Ow. He'll eventually kill it, but that's quite painful. Loses a bunch of Marines. Oliveira picks up. They won't stop dropping. More sensor towers across the board. A quadra drop coming in. He's about to finish 2-2. I don't think there are any siege tanks at this base. He comes in for another round. A single missile turret won't be enough. He needs tanks here. Undercutting. If he gets the engineering base, that's massive. Oh no. +3 armor's denied. +3 attack will also be. And trying to trade out. They'll expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. Oliveira now. Definitely ahead in upgrades. Did ByuN realize? Well, is he gonna bother? This command center is dying so fast, but not fast enough. Half HP. ByuN down 10 workers. No longer has the upgrade advantage. Oliveira just needs to lock it down now. He's in a great position, but ByuN is always dangerous. He's rebuilding his engineering base. Until Oliveira finishes 3-3, he needs to be very careful not to get caught on the field. His army's better. He has more supply. He has more bases, more workers. So he's in a pretty comfortable position. But it doesn't take much for it to become much less comfortable. The scan spotting all of this. ByuN reveals the Marines, but he's kind of funneled himself with the supply depot. Vikings knocking out all the medevacs overhead. A pretty good trade for ByuN to start. But as the siege tanks are taken out and the orbital command taken down. ByuN trying to do a base trade simultaneously, but getting slapped down by siege tanks on either side. He's gonna come back and attempt to flank to maybe crush this army, but using this as a stepping stone. Oliveira not gonna try to back off completely, but instead continue to make life difficult. And the rebuild, he lost his armory too. He had to restart the entirety of his upgrades. And the Vikings will keep ByuN from dropping on top of the tanks. Vikings knocking out more medevacs. And this is death by 1,000 siege tank shells. Oliveira knocks him down. It's 2-1. Wow. A beautifully executed game by Oliveira, predicting the drops and maintaining his advantage throughout. Just pretty textbook for what it was. On top of defending the early Reapers without panicking. I mean, obviously, as one of the best players in the world, he's not going to panic. But it's so easy to overreact and just try to... I gotta get these Reapers out of my base. Pull too many SCVs, end up getting behind. Oliveira sacrificed a few SCVs to get ahead later on. And when you're ahead, you get more ahead. More upgrades, more command centers, more production. So ByuN on the back foot the whole time. And really, those drops are his Achilles heel. But here we are, Site Delta. Oliveira with a chance to close it out. Or ByuN with a chance to climb back in. What a great series. A mirror matchup, yes, but the style, like, it's almost like watching two different races. Not quite, but the styles are so clearly different. Oliveira is so focused on the right unit composition with good positioning, whereas ByuN is about catching you out of that position. Yes, he can do a set-piece fight with the Ravens and the Vikings and the siege tanks, but he'd much rather be dropping Marines. Wow, Oliveira scouting for proxies. And that's it with the SCV. I see. He's been hurt. Both players going one ranks expand. On a map with a ramp leading up to it, you're a lot safer. I think every map we've had so far. Let's see. Alcyone, Golden Aura, and then Oceanborn. Yeah, none of those maps have a ramp to the natural. Which means it's a lot more vulnerable to getting poked and prodded by the early Reapers, Hellion Cyclones. Just having that ramp and that lack of high ground vision makes it significantly safer, especially in early game Terran versus Terran, in dealing with these sort of shenanigans. Okay. Between... none of the early game units are nearly as effective when they have to jump blindly or run blindly into the high ground. No matter how much you estimate their power to be, the high ground is still a very difficult thing to surmount. Right up until the starport finishes, and then that gets removed, but that takes a bit. Honestly, the starport, the real MVP. Seen more starports already in this series than in some tournaments. Thanks to ByuN in Game 1 with 11 of them, but... I think there were a total of like 20 starports in Game 1. That already covers it for the most part. Oh no. Oh, here we go. They're both going for the Medi-clones. Oh, this is gonna get weird. I favor ByuN in this exchange. No one uses medevacs like ByuN, for better or for worse. Oh god. Are they gonna... Don't expect me to commentate this, alright? It's gonna be a mess. Must have been the wind. Oliveira's actually gonna come back. Okay, Cyclone pops out, and... Oh. Will they, won't they? The new romantic comedy. Alright. Clones. Size, visibly. No. We'll work on that. We're workshopping it. Raven interference matrix. So this is a case of instead of countering each other's build, they just cancel each other out. Both players trying the medevac. Liberator coming out. Fake medevac from Oliveira being sent in, I think, as a distraction for the Liberator. Not so fake medevac from ByuN, sent as a a distraction for the SCVs as they can no longer mine here. He kills off 4 and he gets out before the Cyclones actually lock on. Fake medevac into the main. Almost too obvious, I think, as ByuN has already where's the auto turn? Oh, that was awkward. Ends up killing a little more than he bargained for, but I think the medevac was too obviously fake. ByuN clearly looking around. Oliveira on getting his bluff called on this one. Now, Oliveira actually building a bunker back at home. Scan spots production on the way. And the part of the base he didn't actually see. And, oh, no. Interference matrix is done. Oh, this is going to get weird. That's kind of the definition of this entire series. But here we go. Neither player wants to siege up because as soon as they siege, they're going to get interference matrixed. Medevac's coming back. Yeah. Oliveira unsieging the moment the Ravens get close. ByuN has committed to sieging up 1 tank. It's in range of the bunker, but he's just going for the add-ons on the high ground. Unfortunate positioning for Oliveira. Now ByuN gonna be very tough to dislodge. Wow, dropping tanks with his medevac to take advantage of the interference matrix, but the Marines are scrambling back and forth under siege tank fire. Manages to take out 1, but now it's ByuN with the Liberator. Trying to turn this around. Scrambles another tank, slows things down, moves 1 forward. He's surgically dismantling it, but here's the Liberators. He needs to target the tank and get out. The medevac wants to boost it out, but doesn't save either tank. Takes down 1 Raven. But how many tanks are left for Oliveira? 0. That's not very many. Ravens are still intact for both sides. 1-2 in favor of Oliveira, but ByuN is pushing through, and he's got the 3rd base behind. He has more workers. He's going to have upgrades at a similar time. Does he have his... combat shield didn't start. That's actually a mistake. And the Liberators are moving forward. ByuN just pushing Oliveira back to his natural while he's mining from his 3rd back at home. The Liberator just casually sieges the main. He's going to lose so many SCVs. He's not reacting to this. Oliveira's trying to break out. And even if he gets out, he's already lost so much back at home. He takes out a Raven. Oh no, both Ravens dead. The Liberator kills 7 SCVs. And Oliveira finally reacted. But he didn't kill the Liberator. He just pulled the SCVs away. And now he must do critical damage. ByuN has a 3rd base up. He has 30 more workers. Oh no. It's a moderate disaster. A single Viking. More Marines will die. Actually, a bit awkwardly placed here. You can't quite see the SCVs. So the Viking. No, not the tank too! Oliveira. It's clearly just... it's coming apart now. ByuN has almost every advantage. Combat shield about to complete. He starts 2-2 earlier. Oliveira working on a 4th base. ByuN already has a 4th command center on the way. What a series. ByuN, pull him back. Now, if there was ever a time to send in the drops. But there's no reason for ByuN to commit to the drops now. He just has a better army. There's no reason not to use it. He's got a bigger hammer here. Oliveira may be thinking, oh, he's trying to be sneaky, but there's some Marines up there, and both players, here we go! Whoa, Oliveira actually catches the siege tanks out. We'll pull back as, well, both sides get some volleys on retreating Marines. Oliveira manages to bite off a few extra units. ByuN has a handful of Marines. Wants to go for the sensor tower, it looks like. No, he's just going to win the fight with the Marines. And Oliveira calling in some reinforcements. Still a 40 supply gap. ByuN with his 5 racks up and going for 6, 7, and 8. Two-two's finishing up. They're both. Now we're shadow boxing again. If ByuN actually lets Oliveira max out, that kind of resets the advantage. You might have a bank, but that doesn't mean much if he's able to take a much more cost-effective fight. So it looks like ByuN wants to leverage the exact moment his 2-2 upgrades finish, which is about 10 seconds out. And maybe 15. But, oh, whoa, the Marines. 8 seconds. He just grinds through here. And Oliveira's 15 seconds behind. That's a very important 15 seconds. Infantry armor and weapons coming up. ByuN shoving into position here at the 3rd. Oliveira stimming in. Moments before those upgrades complete. Losing 50 supply just like that. The tanks all lined up. ByuN picks up and he heads for the main. The triple drop raining men across the field. And there's so many of them. He's just going for the starport. He might be able to just take out the tank. He's committing to killing the starport, which is a remarkably intense way to throw this game. But the Vikings are not in position. He's dropping all over the tanks. Some of you may die, but that's a chance I'm willing to take, says ByuN, who has now turned a 50 supply lead into a 30 supply one. Actually, 20. 20 SCVs dead, but diving on the starport, it's time to stop dropping the base. All right, Skrillex is so yesteryear. ByuN, I don't care what happened when you graduated high school. And Oliveira holds. He actually starts +3 armor first. ByuN still has a ton of momentum. He still has so many Marines. The Liberators are zoning him out, but ByuN still has 40 supply. It's 57 to 29 Marines. Now, if only ByuN could stop picking up into medevacs and focus on a direct fight, well, this could be a disaster for Oliveira, but so far. Now, against almost everyone, those drops are deadly, but Oliveira keeps, despite his difficult situation on the field, he keeps enough units back at his base because he knows ByuN, it's almost a compulsion. But, well, Marines coming up. There's only 2 siege tanks. He's spread too thin. ByuN finally balls everything up into a fist and punches through. And that's more like it. We're at 2-2. Oh my. What a game. What a series. ByuN ties it up. Almost throws it away with those medevacs. But he manages to hold it together for long enough to knock him out. That means we're going to game 5. Quick breather, quick water break, and we're back in it. And as it is so often, Amphion will be the location of our deciding match. Oliveira SCV scouting. Because ByuN has gotten away with too much. No proxy this time. This series will be limited to a single proxy Rex, which might be a record for these two. A record low, that is. Factory's on the way. We're off to your more typical start. The 111. The supply depots to block the Reaper entrance. At least on ByuN's side. I like the canceling out of the builds. Wait, did he go reactor first? He only has a Marine! This is actually quite a delay on the command center. Of course, not having a command center is also quite a delay. The fact there isn't a Reaper here. The bully SCV here to mess up the AI of these units. But he actually gets a hit in, making it that much easier to kill the first Marine. And now there's some free time with the Reaper. The neighborhood watch trying to chase him down, but... gonna go try to delay the command center yet again. Marines are popping out. He just lets it go. And we'll leave now. Almost evened out the command center timing. Kills 4 SCVs. It did cost him 1, technically. But, Reaper Hellion. I don't know if I'd call that an advantage, but making the most of the temporary unit advantage is Oliveira. And now, well, ByuN really limited the options. He's turned this into a map like Site Delta by blocking off that Reaper wall. And the micro, Oliveira, ByuN chases with a Hellion. He gets 1 more, but 2 Hellions and a Reaper. But there's a Cyclone! Oh no! The Cyclone out in time. Oliveira up 3 workers now, though. I think, therefore I am. But also, I think he's done enough to justify this. He has the worker count. He's going to be a little bit slower on the rest of the tech units, but... and now he's coming in. Getting a fresh mule would be huge. Oh my. 2 SCVs. 1 HP. Gotta be careful not to stub their SCV toes, but... so close to getting 2 more SCVs. That fresh mule is quite a big deal. It's worth about 5 SCVs mining. For the time it is. So, a significant reduction in the early income for ByuN. Which, yeah, I mean...
the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you.
I think ByuN has a mule now to balance it out, but... here comes the medevac. 2 Cyclones to just 1. He locks on. Oliveira saves the day. And now the dance begins. Looking for whatever he can get out here. The Viking slightly out of position. The medevac comes into the main. Those Cyclones can take out the Viking, but, well, this is gonna get weird. Takes out 1. That went really bad. ByuN tried to dodge the lock-on and drop the Cyclone back out before the medevac died, but instead he lost the medevac with the Cyclone, expediting its demise and opening up a great opportunity for Oliveira to come across the map with a deadly amount of units. A siege tank is caught out on the field. Wait, what? Reapers are beating a siege? That's not supposed to happen. He gets a tank. Now, the siege tank will slow things down, but now Oliveira drops the clone into the main. There's absolutely nothing here to defend. And the SCVs, I'm sorry, I apologize. The SCVs are here to defend, much to their great dismay, as 10 of them are now dead. ByuN, though, hitting 2 bases at once, dropping Marines of his own. A Liberator in the main. He already racked up 10 SCV kills. And down goes the medevac. Oliveira clearly looking the other way, trying to come into the natural. Vikings on deck. Siege tanks uncontested. Are we going into a base trade? There's almost no units on either side. Liberator taken down. Marines drop on top of the siege tank. Siege tank still alive. ByuN still has more workers, but is forced away from his natural. Mules are dropping. Oliveira has cleaned up everything on his side of the map. A siege tank trying to get the hits in time, and he does it. He's not able to take out the tank of Oliveira, who's now claimed the natural. ByuN on the ropes right now. Vikings hit the deck again, and he takes down. Wow, the Vikings are amazing. He bounces it, but wait, there's more. The Vikings, GG. Oliveira takes it 3-2 in the most hard-fought Terran versus Terran. I can't. I'm slurring my words. My brain is melting out of my ears because of the slugfest we just watched. Oliveira throws the punches. He gives as good as he got, and then some. And in the most hectic possible way, in the most dramatic possible ending, it wasn't a 35-minute brawl. It was a 7-minute lightning round. But Oliveira shows that he can deal it out. And that's how it ends. Oliveira 3, ByuN 2. The fans, the real winners. Probably the best Terran versus Terran this year. Maybe, well, up there with ever. But what a match. The real MVP is the Vikings on deck. We saw Battlecruisers. We saw mass turrets. We saw the siege tank battles and the Marines. It almost felt like watching a non-mirror matchup. And I don't just say that for advertising's sake. I say that because it truly made my day a little bit better. So thank you for watching. I hope it did for you as well. But honestly, with this one, it's kind of secondary. Thank you for watching. If you got the means and motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. And if you haven't checked out the second channel, Winter Gaming TV, for streams and more content and all that, it'd be awesome if you could do so. Either way. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.